What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got another U2 reaction, this time to the album Boy, brought to us by our friend, longtime supporter, and huge fan of U2, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I'm a U2 fan for sure. We have reviews up of Octone Baby and the Joshua Tree. However, I have never listened to this album, believe it or not. It's one of those weird things, so really looking forward to doing this one. In that, I have quite a bit of research that I'll go into just throughout the songs. Just tell you up front, the music won't be in the video, but there's a Vimeo link below. Click that if you want to follow along and listen to the songs with me. All right, let's get into some of the quick facts. Debut studio album released in October of 1980 and produced by Steve Lillywhite. Contains songs from the band's 40-song repertoire at the time, including 2 tracks that were re-recorded from the original version of the group's debut release, the EP3. Went to 52 in the UK, 63 in the US. You know, it's not really bad for a debut album, especially back in 1980 where albums were a big deal. There was a lot of competition. It was recorded from July to September 1980 at Dublin's Windmill Lane Studios, which became U2's chosen recording location during the 1980s. It was the first time working with Lillywhite, who suggested recording drummer Larry Mullen Jr. playing in a stairwell and recording Smash Bottles and Forks played against a spinning bicycle wheel. The band found Lillywhite to be very encouraging and creative, and he subsequently became a frequent producer of their recorded work. And they had some problems with their previous producer on the EP. I won't go into all that, but that's why they really liked Lillywhite. Thematically, the album's lyrics reflect on adolescence, innocence, and the passage into adulthood. Themes represented on its cover artwork through the photo of a young boy's face, and he appears on further albums of theirs as well. Without much studio time, they quickly recorded each song before spending a few hours on overdubs and moving on to the next song. You got a lot of money, man, back then, especially when you're a debut group, your debut record deal. And it was really hard to get a record deal. I won't go into all that, but Columbia, Ireland wanted to sign them, but then Columbia, UK didn't, and just it was a long, drawn-out process. Bono had not finalized his lyrics prior to the recording sessions during the group's earlier live performances. He often changed lyrics from concert to concert, owing to his lack of interest in lyric writing. Hey man, he's young. The procrastination forced him to finish missing couplets in the studio while his bandmates were busy recording guitars and percussion. Bono was displeased with the vocal performances that he gave in the studio when wearing headphones, and as a result, he changed his approach. He sang into a handheld mic in the control room while listening to playback of the music at high volume. After about 6 takes of each song, Lillywhite would edit together a composite vocal track of the best parts, after which Bono would listen back and replicate the results by singing another 6 takes. So they still got in the lab. They didn't have much time, but they figured out a way to make it work. The album received generally favorable reviews. AllMusic 4 out of 5, Mojo 4 out of 5, Pitchfork 8.3 out of 10, Q 4 out of 5. All tracks are written by U2. We will start this off with I Will Follow, the second single. Bono wrote the lyrics in tribute to his mother, who died when he was 14 years old. It's the only song U2 have performed on every tour since they released their first album. It was written 3 weeks before they began recording Boy. During early rehearsals of the song, the group frequently had loud arguments as Bono was struggling to convey the aggression for the guitar riff that he was envisioning. Frustrated, he took the Edge's guitar from him and hammered away on the 2-string chord the Edge had created to show his bandmates the urgency he wanted. Bono said it was literally coming out of a kind of rage, the sound of a nail being hammered into your frontal lobe. The song features a glockenspiel to provide what Bono called underlying instrumental coloring. It was added at his suggestion and was played during the Boy recording sessions by him and the Edge. For the middle 8 section of the song, Steve Lillywhite recorded the sounds of silverware rubbing against the spokes of a spinning wheel on an upturned bicycle, as well as Bono smashing bottles. Bono told Rolling Stone, "To be honest, I don't remember that much about my mother. I forgot what she looks like. I was 14 or 15 when she died, but I don't remember. I wasn't close to my mother or father, and that's why when it all went wrong, my mother died, I felt a real resentment, because I actually had never got a chance to feel the unconditional love a mother has for a child. There was a feeling of that house being pulled down on top of me, because after the death of my mother, that house was no longer a home. It was just a house. That's what I Will Follow is about. It's a little sketch about that unconditional love a mother has for a child. If you walk away, I will follow. And I was on the outside when you said you needed me. I was looking at myself. I was blind. I could not see." It's a really chronic lyric. All right, man, let's check it out. I Will Follow. Now, Bono's mom died a few days after her own father's funeral. She had a brain hemorrhage, so that would be a traumatic thing. And I guess reading another thing, there was a bunch of psychological stuff. Violence is the way they deemed it that happened in his house. So You can see he did get that guitar riff like he wanted, I imagine, with the Edge, because that really did sound like U2 sound and the Edge sound. Something else I read, I didn't go into it at the start, but I'll mention it here. Adam Clayton and Larry Mullen Jr., so bassist, drums, they both had a very difficult time on sound. They weren't very good at their instruments, right? These guys are young, man. These guys are super young when they're doing this, man. So we just got to keep that in mind. They had to do multiple takes and really try to help those guys along. And in the same way, obviously I spoke about the lyrics not being done, or a lot of them weren't done whenever they came into the studio. So the lyrics on this, I think, are actually pretty good. And Bono later becomes a very good lyricist, in my opinion. But kind of just what I talked about in the beginning. I kind of quoted most of these. I was on the inside when they pulled the four walls down. I was looking through the window. I was lost. I am found. Your eyes make a circle. I see you when I go in there. Your eyes, your eyes, your eyes. Your eyes just give me. And some people think got to play on word because his mom's name was Iris. I don't know. But that was a really, really good track. What a way to come out swinging on your first proper album. And now we'll go to the song Twilight, which I actually don't have anything on. So let's try to interpret these lyrics. All right, Twilight. It's really about Bono being approached by a guy propositioning him, and that's kind of what it's all about. My body grows and grows. It frightens me. The old man tried to walk me home. I thought he should have known. Twilight lost my way. Twilight can't find my way. And the shadow boy meets man. So yeah, that's what it's about. Bono kind of talked about it. He said it's about being approached by a guy who's actually approached, but then everyone is. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. You're writing about what you know at that age. Now we're going to move into a little two-song suite. They're always played together. So we've got And Cat Dubh and Into the Heart. So I'm going to tell you the research on both of these, and then I'll play them both together. And Cat Dubh, Irish for the black cat, and Into the Heart are played together as one song. The title And Cat Dubh means the black cat in Irish and Scottish Gaelic, although its lyrics are in English. The song is written about a short relationship that Bono had with a woman while split from his girlfriend, now wife, Ali. Gavin Friday, a very close friend of Bono, claims that the song is undoubtedly about sex. Bono agreed it's about sex and says the song conjures up the image of a cat and a bird, where the cat kills the bird and then plays with it before sleeping next to it. Into the Heart, on the other hand, focuses on the theme of childhood and maturity and the loss of innocence. The beginning of the song is instrumental until Bono starts to sing with the melody. The songs are layered with several guitar parts and a vibraphone. Additionally, there's a sustained sound heard during the two tracks. It was achieved by the Edge playing his guitar tuner and producer Steve Lillywhite adding several effects. The group took this approach because they did not have a synthesizer with the recording studio. So you know what? You got to just do what you got to do. On Into the Heart, Bono in 2006 said the lyrics were an afterthought. It's really a non-lyric period. Nobody talked about lyrics back then. It really wasn't on the agenda. I think it was only after Unforgettable Fire that we started saying, or that I started saying, hold on a second, give me a bit of space here to think about these things, to thrash these things out. This also answers a question when we have a community member and a former patron named And Cat Dubh. I did not know what that meant. Now I know. It's a U2 song, so let's check it out. So And Cat Dubh, Into the Heart. No pun intended there. I liked him. I thought it was interesting. I think it's interesting they're played together because they're very different. Bono said about And Cat Dubh, he said the images of cat and bird, the cat kills the bird and shakes it, the way they do. They play with the dead prey and then sleeps beside it. That's where the image comes from. It's like someone has taken you, thrown you around the place, and then you sleep beside them. I think for the sake of the song, I switched things around, but in reality, I think I was the cat. I was the one who did the dirty. The lyrics should read, and when she is done, she sleeps beside the one. And then he said about Into the Heart, the sequence that blows my mind is And Cat Dubh, the black cat, to Into the Heart. It's astonishing. So about And Cat Dubh, and I mentioned this during the reaction, like the Edge's guitar work is just fantastic there. Just the violence of Edge's guitar playing, the image of temptation, and then you get into the beautiful lyrical guitar, Edge breaking the rules of punk rock and playing a kind of guitar theme, a solo almost that went on for an age. That's amazing. Just in the two songs here as they flow together. So I did enjoy it. I mean, I didn't love it, but I did enjoy it. There's really nothing on Into the Heart. Just Into the Heart of a Child. I stay a while, but I can go there. Into the Heart of a Child. I can't go back. I can't stay a while. Into the Heart. So he goes from I can stay a while to I can't. I think just reminiscent, as we all do. I didn't have a great childhood, but I know a lot of people had worse ones. But you still think about the good times, right? So you reflect on those, and those hopefully stand out to you. At least you try to make them more. At least times were simpler. They might not have been easier, but they were simpler. You didn't have all the responsibility of adulthood and everything hanging over you. So I think we like to go back there every once in a while. I think that's why the holiday season is such a big thing for a lot of people, because the Christmas trees and just the different things, the Christmas movies or whatever it is, carols, whatever it is for you, you can escape to a simpler time and place, at least for a little bit. So I did enjoy that. Now we're going to move to the final song on the A side, or side one if you prefer, Out of Control. Out of Control, a different sounding song. Right, kind of get that, kind of that soaring anthemic chorus a little bit. I really enjoyed it. Monday morning, 18 years old, I said, how long, say how long. It was one dull morning, I woke the world with bawling. It was so sad. They were so glad. So Bono actually spoke about this years later as being a protest song over having been born, saying that his cries as a child, which reportedly never ended, were greeted with joy as having a new life in the world, even if the child himself was not happy at all. He said this: it was the morning after my 18th birthday, I wrote Out of Control. Monday morning, 18 years old, 18 years of dawning, I said how long. It was one dull morning. I woke the world with bawling. They were so glad. I was so sad. There's a birthday song for you, objecting to being born. It's funny. It is teenage. I know, but it's an interesting idea for a song, and realizing that you have no say in the two most important things that happen to you: when you arrive and when you depart the planet. I was feeling out of control. Great guitar work on here. I mentioned earlier the percussion part of this album was a little bit difficult for everybody as they're working with Larry and Adam to try to improve their skills, but you can't tell it on the finished product, and the Edge is really thriving right now. I don't know how many takes it took him, but I know they didn't have a lot of studio time, and he is really thriving. You can tell that he is what he is going to be tremendous. Now we're already going to go to side two. We got Stories for Boys. Bono told Hot Press in the late 70s, which I don't know if that's still around at all, as a UK magazine that was very helpful to U2 back in the day. He said, all the songs point to one thing: getting people to think for themselves. There's also a reaction against heavy advertising and television images and things like that. I remember seeing heroes on television, people like James Bond and so on, and thinking, I'm not very good looking. I'm not going to get things like that, and being unhappy about it. We feel that we're qualified to comment on things like that because we're teenagers. And remember, you got to keep in mind, they were so young during this. Stories for Boys. Actually, the highlight on this was that percussion section. Adam's bass work was fantastic. Larry's drumming was fantastic. That was a highlight on there for me. A different sounding song, as well as they were experimenting with stuff, right? Trying to find their way. There's a place I go when I'm far away. There's a TV show and I can play. Sometimes when a hero takes me, sometimes I don't let go. Oh. There's not a lot to these lyrics. It's the Stories for Boys. It was okay for me. It's not going to stand out as a favorite for me. Interesting song to start off side two, because album sequencing and song sequencing were so important. What you start with and what you finish with on each side back in the day. Now we're going to move to The Ocean. In 1981, Bono told Hot Press, that same Hot Press, that this song is the thought of every teenager. It's the thought of everybody in a band who thinks he can change the world. It's a very short song. It is only a minute 35 seconds. The Ocean. A little soundscape song that kind of sounded what you would imagine with the ocean. Not much of the lyrics, the middle verse in there, and I felt like a star. I felt the world could go far if they listened to what I said, the sea. So maybe that teenager, if you would just listen to me, man, I can tell you how it is. I got this figured out. I don't mind the song at all. It almost sounds like it's just a partially finished demo, right? So a interesting choice to put on here, but I don't have a problem with it. Now we're going to go to A Day Without Me. This was the lead single. The lyrics refer to the removal of someone from their habitual social circle and reflecting on what the world would be like without their presence. At the time the single's release, an Island Records press officer was notifying inquirers who were corresponding with the record label about the band that the song's lyrics were written about the death of Ian Curtis, the frontman vocalist, of course, of the band Joy Division. However, this information was erroneous, as the band had performed the song in Dublin in February of 1980, musically and lyrically unaltered from its release format several months before Curtis's death. So if you've heard that urban legend, it is just an urban legend. It's a myth. Bono said in 1982, he told NME, our emotions aren't just glossy throwaway things. Some people saw A Day Without You as escapism, but it was about suicide. I don't expect people to dig into our material with a knife and fork, but I write at the microphone with pen and paper. I start on the things I suppose I should be writing about rather than what I feel. As they take a long time to come out of me, they take a long time to sink in. Pretty wise words from still a very young Bono. A Day Without Me, serious subject matter, kind of to an upbeat tune. I thought Bono's voice sounded a little different on that. Started a landslide in my ego. Looked from the outside in the world I left behind. I'm dreaming, you're awake. If I was sleeping, what's at stake? A day without me. Whatever the feelings I keep feeling, what are the feelings you left behind? So yeah, I mean, in the world I left behind. in verse 2 in the middle, wipe their eyes and then let go, and the world I left behind, shed a tear and let love go. That's how it finishes. And then Bono talked about that opening lyric, started a landslide in my ego. He says, that's a great opening line. A lot of this stuff, he's speaking way later in 1997, that's a great opening line. A lot of this stuff is awful, but that's real ballsy. I think this is about our own megalomania, actually. He laughed. And there's never any doubts in our minds, certainly in my mind, that the band had something special and that we were going to go all the way. That was it, and so this is. This was writing about the future success of the band. It's so embarrassing. So that was his take on it. I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought it was an interesting choice for the lead single. I would have chosen I Will Follow. But still a good song. Now we're going to go to a song I don't have anything on. Another Time, Another Place. Another Time, Another Place. The highlight of that was the guitar work for me, by far, by the edge. The lyrics themselves could be about a one-night stand. Really hard to know, man. Or he's just lonely. I'll be with you now, I'll be with you now. We lie in a cloud, we lie is the chorus. At the end, another time, another place. The outro is where you get that. We lie, another time, another place, we lie. Your time, your place is how it ends. So I'm not really sure what it's about. It's more about the soundscape. Wasn't a bad song. Not going to be one of my favorites either. Now we're going to move to the Electric Co. CO. So when in the States or whatever, when I see Electric Co., I'm thinking electric company, but that's not what this is about. It's an abbreviation for electric convulsion therapy, which is an electric shock undergone by patients in psychiatry as part of their treatment. A friend of the band was forced to undergo this horrific procedure. The Electric Co. was neighborhood slang for the procedure, which was quite common in Dublin in the 1970s. The friend of a friend who's attempted suicide inspired this ended up in St. Brandon's Psychiatric Hospital in Dublin, where his further experiences inspired this song. The Electric Co. Interesting producing at the end, right? It like fades out, and I was about to stop it, and then I thought it's just getting louder, and it kind of came back. So a little false fade out there. I thought the instrumentation, the soundscape was really good. I mean, I think that was a highlight. The lyrics, you sort of get it once I told you what it's about, but if you didn't know what it was about, I don't know how you would know. I mean, I guess if you know what Electric Co. means, you would figure it out. But for somebody like me, in the States, I would have no idea. But boy, stupid boy, don't sit at the table until you're able to. Toy, broken toy, shout, shout, you're inside out. The chorus. If you don't know Electric Co., verse 2, 2, 3, 4, I can't stop. Useless is the castle wall. Useless is the metal wall. He's going to jump. If you don't know Electric Co. Yeah, I mean, it's fine, man. I thought the soundscape on it was pretty cool. Now we're going to go to the final track, Shadows and Tall Trees. Was written around 1978 and was heavily inspired by William Golding's book, Lord of the Flies. I mean, at this point when this is being recorded, and I'll touch on this at the end, but Bono was only 20, so he wrote it when he was around 18. One of these things, you'll see it if you're looking at it on Spotify or Apple Music. It has a / Shadows and Tall Trees / Saturday Matinee. Here's what that's about. Each vinyl and some cassette copies have an unlisted and untitled 30-second instrumental sample at the end of the album of Saturday Night, a song that would later become Fire on the 1981 record. It was dropped from most vinyl and all early CD versions, but was reinstated as an unlisted 12th track on the 2008 remaster edition of Boy, and appeared in full for the first time as Saturday Night on the deluxe edition B-side CD. The 30-second sample is now known as Saturday Matinee since the release of the album on streaming services. So it's going to have that little 30-second runoff at the end of this song. Shadows and Tall Trees. That one sticks in your head a little bit more. You know, he's kind of talking about stuff he went through when he was growing up a little bit. I mean, there's not a lot to this song either as far as like lyrically, but who is it now who calls me aside? Are the leaves on the trees just a living disguise? I walk the street. Rain, tragic comedy. I'll walk home again to the street melody. But I know, oh no, shadows and tall trees. It sticks in your head. And then the Saturday Matinee, I don't know, man. Maybe they just thought it'd be a cool way to end the album with just that little bit of instrumentation. You know, hiding a little hidden track in 1980 is always a cool thing to do. Now we're going to get to my favorite tracks. I definitely like side one more than two. Favorite tracks, well, I'll go honorable mention first. The ANCAT dub that segues into the Heart, I'm counting that as one song. That's going to be an honorable mention. My fave tracks are going to be Out of Control, and my favorite one is I Will Follow, the very first track. Now we'll get into my overall grade. Some things got to be pointed out here, right? Of the four guys, two of them were 20, two of them were 19 when this was recorded. I already told you at the start they had a 40-song repertoire. So they've been writing songs. They've been playing together for quite a while. But remember, I mean, they were going through school and those things. And I told you that Larry and Adam struggled greatly with their instruments. They weren't quite ready for this. And I mean, if you read their story, I just didn't want to go into it because of length. But you know, the way they got signed, and they really had to work hard to get signed. And a few of these different record executives saw something in them. Like, it's like, man, you got to peel away all this stuff. They're very green, so to speak. They're very amateurish, but they're getting there, man. They just got to work on their craft. It just takes time and maturity, right? So they could see it was there, but it took a while to actually get signed. So in that, for me, on this album, I'm going to be at a 6.0. It's not a bad album. There's not any songs that I hate. It's an album of some young men trying to find themselves. And you hear throughout it, it's really cool to go through. I'm really glad Mark brought it because I never listened to it. I loved going through the research, which I only shared a small fraction of it with you. You know, kind of how it all came about with YouTube. Even though I've been a fan of theirs for decades, I didn't know how it all came together for them. So that was cool. And I mean, you know, they're 19 and 20-year-old kids, man, putting out their first album. So it's not usually going to be a 9, right? But it's still worth listening to, and it's so cool hearing those early sounds and how they're trying to find themselves. And obviously, Bono spoke about his songwriting on this. He wasn't a fan of it, but I mean, he's 19 and 20 at the time he's writing these. So anyway, thank you, Mark, for bringing it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you guys support us anyway, check out the Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. Until next time, guys, I will see you.